Welcome back. Now, Ed Gillespie is the former head of the Republican Party. He's now a top strategist. Rich Lowry is a busy man. He gets paychecks from Fox News as a contributor, from Time Magazine as a columnist, and he finds time to be editor of the National Review.
When are you going to start paying me, Bob?
And we're also joined by our own Norah O'Donnell, who does this on a voluntary basis. She's such a good citizen. Ed, let me ask you this question. New York Times, big story on the front page today, says Rights Priebus says not so, but I have a feeling there are people that are behind the scenes planning for this thing going all the way to the convention. Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. I do think that our process is different this year than it has been in the past, and we have this proportional delegate allocation. You have the super PACs, playing a role that we haven't ever seen in primaries before, and it is stretching it out. But my sense is, Bob, that at the end of the day, someone's going to wrap up the nomination. I think the likely nominee is Mitt Romney. As you know, I support Governor Romney. I voted for him in the Virginia primary, and I think when you look at the numbers, he's likely to prevail.
Do you have any regrets now looking back on Michael Steele, the previous RNC chairman, was the one who changed this to proportional, which means that if you win a primary, you don't get all the delegates, you get the number in percentage to the amount of votes that you got. You think it'd be better to go back to the old way?
You know, the grass is always greener. The fact is, for a long time, Republicans said we have a process that allows a front runner to wrap up too soon. We're done by March. We need a longer process that allows for people to rise into and challenge the front runner. And that's what we have now. And I do think that whoever emerges at the end of the day, again, I think it's going to be Governor Romney, is going to be stronger as a result of that process. But there's no doubt there are a lot of folks saying, boy, I wish we had a nominee right now who could take the case, to President Obama. So there is some second guessing. But I actually think that this process is going to be good for us.
Rich, let me ask you the question that I asked Rights Priebus just now. Would it be best if Newt Gingrich just got out? You have actually written about that.
Yeah, I have a column in Time this week about this. I think he doesn't have a rationale anymore. He's not even a regional candidate. He's a sub-regional candidate. His geographic base seems to be the border between South Carolina and Georgia, the two states he's won. Now, there's some debate about who he'd actually help if he got out. Some polls say his vote would split both ways between Santorum and Romney. Santorum people certainly don't believe that. And if you look at the results in Alabama and Mississippi, Santorum's win came directly out of the hide of Newt Gingrich. So I think Santorum has outclassed and beaten Newt Gingrich and deserves the chance at the clean shot at Romney.
There's one issue, though, and that is that the Republicans are making the case that this is like 2008 with Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. And you heard Rights Priebus just say, well, we put people to sleep by having that process in the past. But this has not excited the Republican base. In fact, turnout is down in the Republican primaries. And Bill McInturff, who's a well-respected Republican pollster, was John McCain's pollster, has said this process has had a corrosive effect on the nominees. Mitt Romney has very high unfavorables, higher than any other recent nominee other than Bill Clinton. So it has taken its toll on the Republicans. Now, on the flip side, President Obama is looking at a very difficult re-election with unemployment still at 8% and a lot of people feeling pain because of rising gas prices. But the Republicans are struggling. I think it's not fair to say that they've excited people in the process.
What about that, Rich?
Well, I don't know whether it's the process or it's Mitt Romney. I think he's a weak front runner. I think he is inherently kind of the default candidate in this process. He has to take down the other guys in order for himself to pop up. And I think that's one of the reasons he had trouble down in Alabama and Mississippi, part of which was just demographic and geographic. But he really needs to keep his boot on the neck of whoever's in second place. And he did it with Perry, he did it with Newt, and he needs to keep doing it with Santorum. It's not a particularly uplifting way to win the nomination, but I think it's inevitably what he has to do.
Basically, what has worked for him is negative advertising.
Correct.
I mean, in contest after contest. But what about that, Ed? I mean, you're a Romney man here. Why is he having such a hard time connecting with the one part of the Republican Party?
Well, I do think the fact is these super PACs are new to the primary process. So they're new to the general election process, but they're very new to the primary process, and they are inherently more negative. They run more negative ads, so they run almost solely negative ads, and that does have a depressing effect, I think, in terms of turnout in Republican Party primaries. I don't think the damage is permanent. The fact is, once there's a nominee, the dynamic changes overnight, and it becomes a one-on-one race with President Obama, and this is a referendum.
Yeah. Norah, one quick comment.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, once Mitt Romney presumably becomes the nominee, the fight will be joined, and there will be a very clear contrast between the two candidates, where we'll see every day something on the economy, energy, all the major issues before the American voters.
I will just say I've never seen anything like this one, and I've been around here for a long time.